Valcore's Story, chapters 1 through 7. When Valcore was in his mother's birth sack, something strange happened. He and his sister were in it. Because of this, his legs were backwards, because his sister was so big and he was so small. She was getting more nutrients than him, and he wasn't. He was trapped. Eventually, when they got big, there was no room inside of the sack for little Valcore. Soon Valcore was born, and his legs were backwards. A month passed when he was born, and another month passed. He seemed to get bigger and bigger than his sister. His sister was smaller than he was, and they played and played a lot together. But before Valcore aged, he was sent over to Aiden's Grammy's house, a.k.a. Vicky. Because Valcore's legs were backwards, Aiden and Vicky had to help take care of Valcore. For days they feed Valcore puppy food. And eventually, with Aiden and Vicky's care, Valcore's legs were back to normal. He went from Sarah's house to Vicky's house, each of them taking care of Valcore and making sure he had a healthy diet and food. Chapter 2. The Bullies. When Valcore grew big, Vicky decided it was okay for Valcore to go back to Sarah's house to see his siblings. He had 10 siblings. He stayed there for almost a whole year. But later, bad things started happening. His siblings started whispering behind his back, and then they started bullying him, not letting him eat. It would have been so easy for Valcore to get revenge, because he was bigger than his siblings. But he didn't. He was a lover, not a fighter. He got skinnier and skinnier, and he thought the tournament would never end. When one day he was running from his siblings, he found a little hole in the ground hidden behind a tree. It was big enough for him to fit, so he started hiding in the hole. Every day he hid in the hole. He even started stealing food. But one day he was running from his siblings. They stopped dead. One of his siblings was lying on the ground, dead. Chapter 3. The Death. Sarah found out about the death, and she tried to find out what happened. She and Valcore looked for clue after clue, and in the end, they never figured out what happened to Ollie. Chapter 4. Valcore's Escape Fail. After all of teasing and bullying, Valcore have had enough, so he made an escape plan. At night, while everyone was asleep, he was going to climb the fence and run away. But little did he know, his siblings had found out about his plan. He tried to escape, but it failed. He was punished by Sarah. But when he went outside, he saw 2 more of his siblings were dead. Again they tried to figure out what happened, but they got no answer. Now Valcore was worried about what would happen next. 5 more days later, more of Valcore's siblings were dead. What was happening, Valcore thought. Valcore started thinking it was just a dream. Well, if it was a dream, it's too real. Chapter 5. The Thunderstorm. It was a very stormy day the next day. Valcore watched the rain fall down the window as the bullies sat behind him. Laughing at him, "Stop it," he said. "Ha ha." "No," said the bullies. Valcore hides under the bed as they taunted him. It was going to be a very bad night. Chapter 6. Aiden finds out about the bullies. One day when Valcore's siblings were bullying him, Aiden had been outside playing. Aiden stopped to watch as Valcore's siblings bullied him. Aiden hated bullies, so he told Vicky. Then Vicky told Sarah. Sarah punished Valcore's siblings. Valcore hoped they would stop bullying him. Chapter 7. Back at Vicky and Aiden's house. Valcore's siblings still didn't stop bullying him. So Vicky said to Sarah that she should bring him back to her. So Valcore was back at Vicky and Aiden's house. He was sick and skinny, but slowly he got better. And Valcore lived happily ever after. Thanks for listening to this story. It's Valcore's story. From day 1 to month 9. Happy New Year.